think so.
Yeah, shut it off.
I can't hear anything.
Thank you. We worked that way.
That's true. I can move it over there and have it point towards us.
There you go. Well, it is 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get this meeting started. Jay's not here to give roll call, so 3 of us are present.
This is all of Mr. Ward.
At this point in time, Mr. Orr is supposed to arrive. Approval of is there any additions to the agenda?
So the agenda that was sent out, yes, there's been some changes to it. Number one, I added the Perkins grant after the tag. It's on your, it may not be on your agenda.
Okay.
But I added that. And then in the donations, they are already there, but Duncan and McDougal were in the previous one. Okay? And then the Harless scholarships. I put that on there. We've already approved that. I was just gonna
Redo it.
just talk about it again, just so you know. But though, again, Perkins grant added and Duncan and McDougal added. Donations.
Is that one item or is that 2 line items?
Which one?
Duncan McDougal.
There are 2 line items.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Remind me before we get to the results.
That's fine.
So do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. It's been made and seconded.
Yes, Roy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Public comment. Gary? Okay. We'll
No
go
comment.
on.
Okay.
Minutes of the last meeting.
Make a motion.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Student organizations, fundraisers.
Just an update for you guys, I gave you a very written update, gives you the kids that went to competitions, and would love to have you guys congratulate them on your boards when you go to your boards. We had the FCCLA kids win, or I'm sorry, the BPA kids went to state competition. They did really well. You guys have already approved them to go to nationals, so that's the group of the kids that are actually going to nationals. So that will be coming up May 6th through the 10th. So if your boards need to approve that, it might be a good idea to have them approve those things because it will be in Nashville, Tennessee. So congratulations to those students that are going. Mrs. Houlihan is the gal taking them. The other is the Skills USA. We had a number of kids participated last week in Skills USA. You can see those kids. We only had one student place, but I know I talked to kids. The competition was awesome, and they said they had a really neat time down there. I think kids don't realize when they get to that level how competitive it is, but we had one student, Maggie Akins from Manchester, that did actually place 3rd place at the state level. So she won't go on to nationals because Skills USA only takes the 1st place person to nationals, but she wouldn't be able to go to that, but they had a great time with that. So thanks to Brad and Jennifer and Cindy who took all those kids there. Congratulations to those students for participating. And then the FCCLA, Brad has 3 teams that went there. That's down at the bottom. We had 2 teams that placed silver. So they didn't get the top medal, which was gold, but they got silver medals. Again, they put out some really neat products. Brad showed me pictures of them. They were awesome. So congratulations to those kids. And the other team got a bronze medal.
It's
So they
up.
all got a medal.
Floyd.
But they didn't all place at the top level. So and congratulations to Brad on that. So you guys have that information.
What is the FCCCLA?
It's Family Career Consumer Leaders of America, FCCLA, and it's typically you're going to see like your early childhood education, your culinary arts, so it's those types of things. And Brad does both, he does skills and FCCLA. He likes to kind of figure out
Okay.
different kinds of competitions.
Is there any, no fundraising?
No fundraising.
No unfinished business? Miscellaneous? Or
Did you probably want to talk about the college career day, about how many you had and all that good stuff?
Yeah, on the back side, you'll see, I gave you a list of the companies that came. We run, we didn't know how many, you never know how many you're gonna get. Every once in a while you get folks that come in. I think we had 38 show up, 33 show up. There's 5 or 6 that have stayed for tonight. It is a great interaction with our students. Like, for example, with the Sheriff's Department, Probation Department out here talking to kids. You've got
2 of our graduates.
Yeah, 2 of our graduates standing there. You had Pike Lumber with one of our graduates that came. and you name it, there's different colleges that come. We don't typically attract the IU, Purdue, the bigger schools, we're gonna attract more trade schools. We had several healthcare agencies, there was 33 participants here today, and I think there's 5 here tonight, 5 or 6 tonight in the hallways. Again, it's just supporting what you guys do with kids, because you guys also do your career affairs, but all the kids walk through, we give them a questionnaire of things to ask, because you'd be amazed. The kids will not ask questions, like they'll stand there and look at people, they will not approach a table unless you push them toward the table, so we try to get all the kids to answer questions.
Pete, how many questions were you asking at 17?
None. I should have. And honestly, I spend a lot, we all spend a lot of time walking around, and then you'll hear a kid say something, I'm going, well, come here. And you prompt them, and you can get them over there to ask the questions. And some of these guys are recruiting for their next year kids, and others are just recruiting. I know Floyd was talking to the guy from Vincennes about aviation, because he thought, well, that might be a cool program for my son. You know, and so it's stuff you don't think about. So, all the military branches do thanks to them, they all really appreciate that.
How do you guys, recruit for this?
We probably send out, every company that comes in is invited to come be a part. We send out hundreds of emails and letters. Literally, I think my list is probably 220. We go out, and these are the, I want 40 companies that responded, and 38 of those were coming.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of folks that just don't respond, and there were some schools that were coming, but we had like UTI has a rep, and they just changed reps. Fort Wayne doesn't have enough people at the IUPU, they split the campus, they don't have enough people to do that. So you can run into those kinds of things, businesses, they gotta keep their business running, so they can't send. But we'll recruit anybody.
I'd like to see one of the fire departments on here.
Okay.
So the other thing that we do is we send, it's on our website, so anytime we have an employer call or somebody say, hey, we're interested in recruiting your kids, we'd like to come talk to your students. Hey, you can also go here, so that's another way for them to grab a hold of that, it's just a Google form and they can grab it and go. Yeah, fire department's always a good option.
And if we can't get Wabash to do it in the future, which I'm sure they probably would, then
Well, I like
I'll
that,
make
but
sure we
we've
get Brew
had-
up here.
I would say get either, because it doesn't really make a difference if it's
Yeah.
Wabash or Peru. Because again, the idea is the kids don't know what they don't know.
And you
So if
know,
you bring Peru in, who cares if it's Peru versus Wabash? It's-
and the reason I say that is I've actually talked to a couple of kids who are really interested in your criminal services, like, avenue. They want to be firefighters.
Yep.
We do
So
offer that every once in a while. We've been able to connect kids to the.
you're not gonna run into it every time though. It's like, you're not gonna have
We've
it.
had probably, since I've been here the last 3 years, we've had probably 1 kid per year.
Yeah.
Well, last year,
we had,
last year or this year? Last year,
last year we had 3, this year we had 1.
But if the fire departments would get here and know that, these kids are looking for that in the future, it kind of.
Wabash offered an EMT program and offered it to our kids. Again, part of the problem there is funding.
Right,
For those kids, because there's a certain funding aspect. The other part is they run it with an adult class, and so then it comes on schedule.
sure.
Can you fit it into your schedule, does it fit a high school schedule versus an adult schedule? Because they have one they do in the fall, they started right when we start school, they'll start August, and I wanna say it's August
They go
or
to
December.
Christmas.
And they do like a 7 to 11 or 7:30 to 11:30. So you gotta have a kid that says, yeah, I'll do that.
And that's for their
EMT.
EMT.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because that's their first entry point, really.
Right, that's
We
gonna
have tried
help
the EMR class here, and it hasn't been real successful.
Sure.
And we've also had some kids do EMT and decide this is a whole lot more than I ever thought it'd be. So, because we want them to take the national boards on the backside. And so usually they do fine in the skills, and honestly, what we've found here is the kids that have gone in are kids that are CNAs.
Yeah,
And they went, the kids 3 years, that we had 3 in, 2 of them found out, oh, I can make more money as a CNA, so they just
Yeah.
didn't take their national boards. So those are the challenges that we face, we
I
talked
get
about
that,
fire 1,
yeah.
fire 2.
that's what I was gonna
And you have
ask,
to be
is if you could do fire one or fire two, that's another entry point, and you don't necessarily have to go down the EMT road, but.
And you have to be 18, and if they started in the
Yes.
fall, is that kid 18 by the time they test? And if not, then you're waiting for the test till whenever they turn 18, and then you lose.
we're looking at some of those angles. I mean, really, it's always been, we have to do a collaboration where we're gonna have to send them there instead of creating a class here.
Well, let me remind
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Appreciate that.
you. Yeah.
The next one's open house, just a reminder, tonight, 6, 7:30. Parents, families, communities, we have a few businesses up there as well. The next one's a construction home open house. There has been a date change, that's why that's on there. It is now May 14th, that evening, and so you're aware, you're more than welcome to attend. And I can get you guys that address.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful.
Yep, and so the certificate ceremony is May 18th, it's Monday, 7 PM. I know Peru has a board meeting that night, Wabash does as well, but they're gonna stop on over as soon as they get done, we keep going. And so I think I talked to your superintendent too, just if you can have a representative there, so you guys have a board meeting. Last year was the guidance counselor, JJ Burns.
Yep.
The year before that was Pat Volk, your assistant principal, so we just like to have some type of representation for the school there.
Oh, yeah.
The next thing on the list is precision ag updates. I asked our instructor to give us updates on the farming situation, and so there is a link there, John, if you want to, I might have to give you access, which I don't know, but
It's opening.
it is.
Woo. At least for me, it
Mine jumps sideways. and who knows
John
what it
does.
is. But when I zoom in on this, there it is.
I'll read off on it. Oh, it's right there. You can make it bigger if you click on the other thing. Never mind.
There we go.
There you go. And so it just kind of talks about what they've done, so you have access to this. This they appreciate, the kids are taking pride in it. During this time, they talked to Killer Seed, talked about selection and ordering of that. Keystone's come out and done soil sampling, they mapped the boundaries with the ROGO, which I'll be honest with you, I don't know what that means. They've cleaned the field, so that field is a constant attraction for debris coming from Walmart and 24. So they've been out there a couple times picking up Walmart bags, trash that's been all over the place out there, it's gonna get caught in the equipment. They set up a John Deere OPS data center with Georgia Sewer, she came in and talked to them. We got their soil results and went through those with Keystone and so forth. But they've got a plan here, and what they're moving forward with. They're hoping to do tillage at the end of the month. It's going to obviously depend on the weather. And then they're going to have planting in May with Mr. Schellhammer. And I do some herbicide in a month and have a field day at the end of the month as well, on May 26th.
Field day.
That's what they're saying. Keystone and Simplot will be on May 26th. Yep. So that's just a general update for you, so you have it. If you have some questions, let me know, and I'll make sure I ask those questions and get back to you.
I'm glad to see that up there. New business, financial reports, Mr. Conrad.
Okay, for month of March 2026, Heartland Career Center funds reconciliation, total funds on hand in the financial system. Opening balance on March 1st was $1,951,404.11. During the month, we had $300,572.82 in receipts, and disbursements totaling $241,141.88 for a month-ending balance in the finance system on March 31st, 2026.
You open it up.
I would swear that I have that.
It's an automatic thing, that doesn't matter. It's automatic.
Month-ending balance of $2,010,835.05. Depository reconciliation, total funds on deposit at Crossroads Bank on March 1st, 2026, $1,973,594.41. Cleared deposits and credits in the amount of $300,572.82. Cleared checks and other debits totaling $262,209.16 for a month end, March 31st, 2026, depository balance of Crossroads Bank amounting to $2,011,958.07. At month end on March 31st, 2026, we had 3 outstanding checks totaling $1,123.02. The ECA reconciliation March 1st, beginning balance at Crossroads was $127,617.78. Cleared deposits and credits of $17,354.20. Cleared checks and other debits in the amount of $12,894.51 for a month ending 3/31 balance at Crossroads in the amount of $132,077.47. There were no outstanding checks as of month end, March 31st. The next item is the accounts payable docket. This docket ranged from March 19th, the day after the last meeting that we had, through today. The total amount paid is $140,120.17. When I went through there, the only item that I really highlighted that wasn't something that we see on a typical monthly basis was paid today. The check's in the safe. I'll mail it out tomorrow to Honeywell Foundation for $11,000. This is the fourth quarterly check for the graphic design Honeywell program down in Eagles. That check number is 13,676. And then finally payrolls. Since the last meeting, we've had 2 payroll cycle dates. On March 27th, we had a payroll totaling $60,092.99. And then on April 10th, we had another payroll cycle, $58,532.99, for a total payrolls that are over here awaiting your signatures at the end of the meeting, $118,625.98. Any questions?
Thank you.
Reminder, I've got minutes from February. Mr. Driscoll, I have bank recs for you. We have the payroll docket as well as the AP dockets for signing, and then the basket full of docs if anybody needs to see anything.
There's no more questions for Mr. Conrad. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Been moved to second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Tag grant.
So the TAG grant is the teacher appreciation grant. I know I talked to some superintendents, they applied for this as well. There's some money allotted by the state to apply for, and we were allotted $10,500, and it can only go to a certain percentage of your teachers. So for us, and the lowest tier was $3,500, and so we only get 3 teachers at $3,500 TAG grant. We put them through a rubric, and that rubric included their evaluation, the number of students that received certifications or licensures in their program out of the total number of students. There was days taken off, so if they had so many days between 0 and 2, they got max points. 4 to 3 to 6 was this, and so on. And so there were different categories to evaluate them on. 3 people were at the top of that, and I do feel like for sure 2 of them, this is a very good benefit for them. They're very successful in programs. One had 99 in the last 3 years. I think they've had 1 person not pass their certificate or license. And they're underpaid, I'll be honest with you. They are an underpaid teacher when they got hired here. They should have been hired in a lot more, but that's where they are. So I think it's good that person's getting it. The other one is a teacher who came into a program who didn't have a lot of certifications and has really pushed that and raised the bar in that class and has, I think, over 85% rate on certification. So the other one does a phenomenal job as well. I mean, they're all 3 phenomenal teachers. And so without saying their names, their employee numbers are 272, 281, and 282. So we'll try to keep it a little confidential there. I need your approval to go ahead and cut that check for $3,500 to give them as a stipend. It is not to go to their base pay, it is actually a stipend. That's the way the state does it, and we do that. But I want to make sure you have that in front of you for your approval.
Is that something that's going to be reoccurring like for next year, or is that?
There should be TAG money each year. So before this year, it was part of what the school corporations got. We did not get it. So each of the corporations got it. So Manchester Brew, all of you guys got it. And so they used to ask for it as part of the negotiations, and they stopped because we never really got it. And so we just started putting money in the budget to cover that. Well, now, they gave us, since we're our own corporation, they put us on the list. And so there are 4 other standalones, and they were on the list. I asked our teachers first before applying, do we want to do this? And voted as an association, yes, we want to. Because if some of our teachers can get it, that's better than none.
Right.
So that's what we did. And so I asked you to approve that for them.
You approve the recommendation, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Sorry, it was clear with those.
Okay.
He wanted, he was thinking, maybe God is just real.
Do I have enough seniority to do that?
Yes.
You go right ahead.
Pardon me? Perkins is next, it's not ours.
Yeah.
So the next one's Perkins. This is something you guys approved to apply for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, at least. And it's something we do every year. This is how we fund a lot of different things. And so, for example, this year in the budget for Perkins, one of the things we do is we still cover Miranda's Hackathorn's salary as a career development coordinator. If you remember previously, that was part of another grant. It went to this grant. This is the last year for that to be in the grant. It will not be in the budget after that, okay? So her salary's in there, all her fringe benefits, everything like that is in this grant. Along with CDL. CDL is probably the biggest price tag in this thing, because it is $5,000 a kid, and we ask those kids to pay a certain fee, and we try to offset that with this. And so our grant money went down this year. The last 3 years it's gone down. Last year was $116,000. We're at $109,000 this year.
They say why it went down?
Um,
They go by enrollment.
It's a federal thing, and part of it is enrollment, but there's numbers that they go through, and I will tell you, almost everybody's went down. So, everybody's went down. And also, when other career centers pop up, that takes part of the pot away. So for example, nothing against Huntington, they were a part of Area 18, I think is what it's called. They created their own career center because they started new programs to have enough. And so they now get part of that funding, which then pulls away from the state a little bit. And so that's, I would say that's part of it. So, but we're at 109, so 116. It's really, this is just on the agenda to kind of update you and let you know what we're doing. It has been submitted, your superintendents have signed it, and it's been submitted to them to go through the finalization of the process and move forward. Okay?
Is there another one you had in there?
No, the scholarships are the next thing.
Okay.
We have them.
Yeah, that's what's on here, okay.
So the
Scholarships.
Heartland scholarships, they were approved back in February. This is just a reminder, we're going through that process. I know Pete's been taking applications and stuff like that for the community foundations, actually some of the community foundations, but you've been handing stuff out. And we were gonna do, I believe it was 5 at 1,500, is that right, Pete?
Yes.
And that's what we're doing for this year, okay? We are gonna need to kind of look at that from year to year now with the farming and see how things go. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't wanna pull money from the farm side until we know we have enough to cover our costs and continue that. And then we can start doing that. We still have some more money in the community foundations right now for that. So I think we do have another year after this to go cover ourselves. I'm not too worried about it at this point. So that's what the scholarships are.
Personnel.
So first up is our supervisor of student services. I sent this recommendation letter to you guys in an email. I think it was Thursday last week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday last week. Jared Hyden, who's with us today, went through the process. We did 2 sets of interviews, and he came in after and had a further discussion about it. He has, accepted the offer to be our supervisor of student services starting next year. And a little bit about Jared is he currently works at Lights. Jared, how long have you been there? Or how about you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Do I need to come in front of the camera too?
You can, if you
Yeah.
want.
I'm good. I'm good. All right. All right. Well, if I knew I was going to do a speech, I'd have done my hair, but I think I repeat here. No, my name's Jared Hyden. I've been out of Whites for 15 years. I had various roles out there. I have a wife, 4 kids. Was in the military. Just had a lot of sturdy backgrounds in that too. I'm excited to come on. I want to see them. When I got the call to come in and talk to Floyd, I was just like, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, holy crap. All right, let's go. And so I'm ready to learn and just move into everything.
And just so you know, before I even offered you money, he said yes. I'm like, well, let's hold on. I go, I might only give you $1, like, you know, and so,
Money's not
but,
everything.
yeah, he came in and we talked and, things were good, and he called me back that night, accepted, and so I am bringing Jared to you guys, to be the supervisor of student services next year. You know, Pete's been here for 21 years, and so it's gonna be hard getting him, but I do think we have a guy here that is willing to learn, has a lot of energy, has worked with kids for a long time, and so we're excited to have that.
Pete, I think he has bigger feet than you.
Jared, here's fun stuff. Jared's dad and I worked together when I was at White's. So I worked at White's, so when he called me and asked me about applying for the position, I bet we've seen each other, but haven't really, I mean, socially or anything, like, seen each other until he started asking about the position. But I told Floyd, I said, there were several really good candidates. I think what stands out for him is his enthusiasm. Like, I think he's coming in with a lot of energy. He's a crisis manager at White's. I know what that is because I worked there and did the same type of thing that he did. He doesn't come in with the educational background. I didn't have any when I came in here, but I told him Heartland's the best kept secret in the world. Like, it's a great place to be. So I think what you're going to get is a young man that is on fire for kids, because that's what he does now, but also brings a lot of energy to it. So I think he'll do a great job.
Is there gonna be some overlap here?
I told him I'm not teaching anything.
Show where the refrigerator is.
He and I have talked just briefly, and I told him, he's welcome, he's also got a job he's gotta finish up.
Well, sure.
And I told him that he's welcome to come in at any point in time. I told Floyd, I'm not leaving to leave, like, I love what I do, so anything I can do to help him, my goal is not to get in his way. Like, I want him to come in with fresh ideas, because that's what you need.
Of course.
You need someone with fresh ideas, but there's lots of little things that he will not know how to do. And so that part of it is just gonna take coaching. These guys are really good at what they do, but there's little things that will come in and help him do whatever he needs to do. I don't know, you guys get to decide like that side of it, but.
Yeah, me and Pete have talked about that, and I think that opportunity's there, and he's willing to do that. I've offered Jared, during the spring, if he has time available, just to come in and kind of shadow Pete, and then he can do that, and when Pete's available and so forth. And so I do want to go do that. I want to give Pete some time too to kind of figure out what August looks like for him before we kind of finalize what that looks like. But yeah, I do think that's there. The possibility is definitely available.
And he will be coming to these meetings on the.
Someone's got
All the way up through June.
Used to seeing you there.
Yeah, Jared's gonna do a great job. I have there's no doubt in my mind he'll do a great job. So.
I've said for years, we've had employees who would just show up and show me enthusiasm. Just get excited about being there and doing your job, and that just counts for so much. So you seem to have that, and love to help young people. So I like to see that.
I think the other thing I would say is I mean, the diversity of what he's done. Like, he worked at White's, he's worked at Light, and I tell one thing I would say, and again, I don't have to use him. He was in the military and he was at White's. Those are the two jobs he's had. So to me, that shows the consistency that, I think he did Coca-Cola for a little while, but like, he's a long-term guy. Like, that's what he does. And so I love that about him. But, I think you're going to get a great guy that's going to come in and be dedicated to what he's doing. I would have no problem asking him.
Yeah, like I told you guys in the interview, it's like, I'm a sponge. I'm ready to learn and listen, and try to do the best I can for sure. And I love to smile. Got me in trouble a lot of times in the military, but yeah.
What are you smiling about?
Chris Arms asked me that a couple times.
So, yeah, Jared Hayden, recommendation for supervisor searches.
When do you propose that he starts?
It'll be on a 200-day contract, and so we'll have to look at that actual start date. I think Pete was on 195, if I remember right. we went ahead and kind of extended a little bit, being a new guy. The beginning of the year, there's a lot of information they got to get done and data, and so I want to make sure he has plenty of time to do that. You're gonna have to work any extra to do that, and so I think 200 days is good. With that, so it's going to be in here roughly 8 to 7 days prior to school start. So if he wants to come in early, that's his choice. So.
Well, we've heard the recommendation, is there a motion?
I'd like to make that motion.
There you go.
Whoa, sir, whoa.
I'll second.
Just so you know, Mr. Wright, that's the first one this year.
I'm enthusiastic.
We've got a backer anyhow, that's a good thing.
Had a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
Yeah, yeah.
You can sit there if you want,
Hang
or
around.
stay right there.
Get used to it.
Like a piece of paper or a laptop or something, so like I'm here. No.
So next on the list is custodian. Some of you may or may not know, but Denny Carmichael is a custodian here.
Long time.
Well, 11 years, but then he was here prior to that as well. And so Denny's our I would call him our night custodian. He comes in from 10 to 6 roughly. And if there's a night class, sometimes he'll come in later and stay later for the night class. And so Denny's birthday was Tuesday.
Yes, you did.
He turned 79.
Oh,
And Denny is one of those guys that gets around and does whatever he has to do. Great guy. Has worked a long time. He worked at General Tire before that. That shut down and started doing other things. And so he's decided that he needs to make a change and step away. And so his resignation is that I'm writing before me to resign as a custodian at Harvard Career Center as of May 29th, 2026. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity for the last 11 years. Appreciate your support that I've received through my tenure. So Denny's an amazing guy. I think this was really hard for him because we've been talking about it for a couple of years and just back and forth, and he's real quiet about it. But I don't think he really truly wanted to do it, but he feels like he should and needs to. And so we appreciate everything he's done for us. He means a lot to a lot of people around here too. So if you would please accept his resignation as of May 29, 2026.
Here's the recommendation, is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Donations.
We have 5 donations here tonight. I have 4 of those, and Mr. McCord will handle the last one. But the first one that I have, and it's on your list, is Alro Steel. Alro donated 4 4x8 sheets of 18-gauge sheet metal so our collision students could do weld practice and weld tests. So actually, Alro has given us a lot this last 2 years. Their rep was here. Jack Holly, our welding instructor, made mention to somebody, and next thing you know, we had 4 sheets show up to help our collision students. So that's what that one's for. We very much appreciate the partnership that Alro has been to us and what they provide for us. They've been super to supply parts and different things for us, so that's good. The next one is from SICK, S-I-C-K Incorporated, which is a sensor group. I'm gonna do a training this summer on advanced manufacturing, and I think Jake Miller's gonna go with me down to Louisville. And part of that is we have to do like 4 hours of online training as well associated with that. And so I was in this training that I could get knocked out before I go, and this guy spoke, and he says, I've got all this stuff from SICK Sensors that this keep throwing out, and all I do is gather it and disperse it to anybody that wants it. So I got on the phone with him, or I got on the Zoom call with him right then, and I said, hey, we'd be interested, what do you have? So he ended up, I hooked him up with Jake Miller, and we ended up getting $13,000 worth of sensors that were donated, like light curtains and sensors and proc sensors and all sorts of stuff that we had. And he's like, if you need more, let me know. So he said he's gonna run this gamut as long as, because all they do is they just dump it. And so it's ours, and it's gonna be a great tool. He knows exactly you know, we may destroy it. He goes, that's up to you, you guys do whatever. But I had talked to him initially about putting some sensors on our machining equipment, and so that's how we ended up. The guy was fabulous, and I think the door's open to get whatever we need to get. He's there to help us, so that was huge.
Where are they located?
He's located in South Carolina, and he has all this stuff, and he gets it and brings it to his house. He's in South Carolina or North Carolina, I don't know which, but the company is out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they're one of the larger sensor companies, I guess, in the country. I'd never heard of it. But it was sort of an interesting, oh, wow, let's look into this. And it was a great thing, so, yeah.
Did you send the truck down here? Yes.
It was shipped to us. It's not huge. I mean, it was in a box like this,
Okay.
but at the end, I mean, the sensors are expensive.
Yes.
And so it was a great piece for us. And Jake, that's the world he lives, so he knows what he's getting. And he said, well, this is what we need. We can use this. And so they supplied all sorts of stuff. I have a full spreadsheet of what they sent us. It was $13,000 worth of it. Yeah. So very blessed by that. The next two are vehicles. We had, again, these are calls that we just randomly got. The first one is Mr. and Mrs. David Duncan. Actually, their son is a student in our health science class, so he'll be tested for CNA in 2 weeks. But this guy said, yeah, my son's car blew up. We got it down at Kirtland's. It's going to cost us $3 or $4 grand to fix it. You guys have done super with him. We appreciate that. We'd love to donate this car. So it's this young man's car, and he's actually going from the health science class this year. He's going to an auto service thing because he would like to know how to fix his car.
Yeah.
And so he may be working on his own car, but it also may be a giveaway car for us too. So it's a 2013 Chevy Cruze, and it's actually down at Kirtland's right now, but we have the title in hand. And Steve Kirtland actually has some of our students down there employed. He said, well, I'll be out and about, I'll just spray it too. So they're going to drop it off too. So that's a nice blessing. Again, community that supports what we do, we can't thank people enough for that. The next one is a gentleman from Peru. He called us because he has a 2011 Dodge Dakota that is very, very clean. You've seen it. It's a very nice truck. We may be able to get that going. It's got a bad cylinder in it. Again, it's going to cost him too much money because the technician said it's going to cost me more to dig into that than just put a new engine. It's going to cost you $4 grand to put a new engine. He said, I don't want to spend that kind of money. So we have Dodge Dakota that maybe we'll get running, maybe we won't, but it still gives us real estate, gives us brakes, front steering, suspension, and all sorts of things that we can work on with it. So great donations there, 2 vehicles that it looks like we got a fleet out there, but we also can destroy a fleet in a hurry too. So, yes, those are our donations.
The last one's Austin Paparock, and Matt and Darren may remember who he is. He was the judge for the roof.
Yes.
So during the roofing project, our ag class did a drone overview of the project and provided that video to Mr. Paparock, and they used it. And so he wanted to do a donation. Well, he came back for kind of a roof check to make sure everything was good and all that good stuff. And he literally wrote a personal check to Harley Career Center to donate. I think it was $1,000 actually, to Harley Career Center for that. And so we wanted to write him a letter and say thank you for the donation. We appreciate the support, and he was really good to work with, and I would recommend him to anybody through your processes. So that would be for Austin Paparock.
Very good. We don't have to accept those, I mean, no.
We had some in the past.
I don't think so. All right. Anything from,
You guys signatures, something we gotta do, some signatures. So
next meeting is May 20th, 6 p.m. An executive session at 5.
Zero.
Huh?
Yep, the executive session reminders for the evaluation process.
Yep.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Move to second.
Think about that one.
All those don't like.
All those in favor say aye. Motion passed.
I would say if you do have a few minutes, we'd love to have you spend more time around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
So, Jerry.
Congratulations.
So Jared, just so you know who you're talking to, this is Darren.
I'm the troublemaker, yeah.
She's North Miami. Okay, so what happens, our board, and you may not know this, the main of our board, is all the local school systems that, I would call them our member schools, they have a board member from each. So Matt,
Tax day, man.
Matt is through,
No, it's
Darren's
not like
North
that.
Miami.
Well, yeah, yours is
Fred is
It's still
Manchester.
corporate tax.
Yeah, remember that. Remember Fred is Manchester.
Fred
Red is Manchester.
Fred is Manchester.
Wow.
Matt Crystal is MSD, so he would be one for the south.
There's gonna be tax.
Hey, he's much better.
Yes.
And then you have Jade is from Wabash City Schools. So, but they're the ones that would represent, and on the board, like, every year, every couple of years, they may get different representatives, so these are folks that, several of them that are representatives.
Yeah, except for me.
Fact sheet, which is what we kind of are.
Looking for the offer, huh?
You want me to
I'll
stop
tell
this
you
one?
what, we've gone through some like big replacements over the past few years with you coming in, that was scary, but everything was just fine. Everything was just fine, and then Floyd coming in,
I'm not sure how to,
everything was just
I don't
fine.
wanna, I didn't wanna.
And you're not allowed to. What?
What'd you do, Peter?
Right, right.
Yes, it's.
Thank you all, I'm gonna
Yeah.
roll out.
How was your work? Orlando.
Orlando,